All right, all right, all right. Aloha Friday, everybody. Thank you for being with us here today. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Parade Deck, Facebook, Twitter. Is there anything else we can stream live on? It will be on there. But folks, thank you for joining us today as we host Javier Solis discussing something that it's just intriguing to me. And Javier, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to address the audience. But folks, if you are coming in, let us know by getting into the chat, letting us know where you're coming in from and joining us. And any comments you have during this whole entire session, just go ahead and put it in there. Happy Friday to you, Shelly. Thank you for being with us. So punctual and appreciate your support. But Javier, welcome to Aloha Friday Live. I tell you, brother, your story is so inspirational. It is so good to have this opportunity for you to share this. Normally, this is a full-on leadership centric type of venue, but what I want to do is incorporate that leadership because you do have that part of your franchise experience that you would like that you were going to share. But before we get into it, Javier, share a little bit about you and then we'll get in it.
Hey, Enrique, thank you very much for allowing me to share with your audience the things that we've gone as immigrants, as an undocumented immigrant, and then trying to cross all those barriers. It was a nice journey, okay, since 1989 when I arrived to the States to now, where, I have founded the first Latino franchise of income tax preparation in the US, and now also a co-founder of the largest Latino franchise in any industry. So it's been a good, exciting ride, but it was not easy. There's been a lot of things that we went through as entrepreneurs, as you know, and but here we are, trying to just share our history and what we've gone through. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your journey, and as someone that, and it's funny for a lot of folks that don't understand, right? Even some Puerto Ricans, although we were born citizens, we had to go from an island, and that was my trajectory. Right? I was telling you, I believe yesterday, how I remember getting on Eastern Airline, and now that airline is nowhere to be found. And if you remember that, you're pretty aged, but I remember that was a journey. Although documented, although born a citizen, it was still a journey. And I was leaving my homeland, Puerto Rico, to find our way in New York, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. My mom had two children, single mother, and had to make her way through. And in my story is that my mom somehow got a job ironing clothes and washing clothes. Right? We are American citizens.
Oh yeah.
Right, and you got to do whatever to get that. And we were in an apartment that was not our apartment, something that her and the landlord, the super, right, had managed to be arranged that we would sleep there at night when no one would know. No furniture on the floor, and then in the morning she would take us out of there and then go do her job, and then had one of the neighbors sit us. And it's something that's not foreign even to those that are documented, but even worse when you don't have an identity, you're in a country that's not your own, and now you have to figure this out. So your bravery, and I know we shared it yesterday, your bravery to leave your home where you were already educated, you already had something. I'll let you talk about that yourself, but it's just so inspiring.
No, you're right. I mean, to come to a place that you don't know anybody, and then all of the sudden you become nobody. I mean, that's really scary. I came from Ecuador, and I, my journey as an undocumented was, something that I'm not proud of, but hey, a lot of us do it. So the first people that close your doors, as always, is your family. But my mother was always there. I mean, with her, after my family closed the doors on me, because she was here and she brought me here, I had to go and find out what we do. Okay, so we went to another family, and they helped us. And since then, I've been working in anything that I could. Okay, I was I was a college graduate in my country. I used to work very close with the mayor. Okay, with an attorney that will do a lot of work with the mayor. And when you are there, every time that you go to the park, wherever you go, you are somebody, especially if you are in that environment, and you always go like, hey, doctor, how are you? Hey, whenever, you talk to people and you are a person. The moment that I came here, I was totally nobody. They will push, come on, man, get out of my way. So it was a really a shocking experience at the beginning, because I was used to something. And with my mother, we lived in a basement, where you will see all the cockroaches running around in the Bronx. Okay, the building was so old, but they didn't have any apartments, so they gave us a little room in the basement. And if you, I mean, and especially you were in the Bronx, those buildings are really, really old. So we were there, and I started my first tax season. Okay, was in January 1990, because I saw this pamphlet, how to prepare your taxes, and it was something that I liked it. I liked reading, so I went through all the steps to prepare taxes. So I did it to my mother, to my uncle, to some friends, and I started doing that. That was my first tax season. Okay, but I was always working in other things, like in my restaurant, opening the restaurant at 6 in the morning, closing it at 2 p.m. Then another van will give me a bunch of envelopes in Manhattan that I had to deliver those envelopes. After that, I will run to the Bronx to a college, because I will start college from 5 to 10. And I wanted to take as many credits as possible, because I was paying double as a foreign student, because I didn't have my documents. And then after that, at 10 p.m., going back to my building, because I was the superintendent of the building, and that's how they gave me a rent free. So it was nice, running all over the place. And then with my mother, we will go to Burger King on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so I was full of work, and but always building that tax service until year 2000, when I finally opened my first office in Brooklyn. And my first tax season was only 50 clients. And I was happy, because I was in my own office. So after building a really aggressive marketing strategy for the Latino community, by 2005, I had close to 3,000 clients. And then at that level, I was happy, because I wanted to keep opening more offices. But the major franchise chains in tax preparation, they were contacting me that they wanted me to be part of their franchise, but they were not Latinos. So I started searching and see if I could find a Latino franchise, Latino association. There was nothing. So it took me 2 years to raise the money, and I opened it finally in May 2007. Back then, it was Los Taxes as the first Latino franchise of tax preparation. Knocking doors to see if they could give you loans. Nobody will give you loans. Trying to see if friends will help you with this venture, because, I didn't have anything, no franchise, no nothing. It was just an idea, and nobody will help you. So, but I don't know. Sometimes we are so resilient. Latinos are so resilient that when they tell you no, it's when you really want to do it. Okay. And I say, oh, you say no? All right. I'll show you. So it took me 2 years to open my franchise. I started growing the franchise on the East Coast, but I made several mistakes. I had to say, I have to share, and I always share that with anybody that wants to open a franchise. I did make a lot of mistakes because I was not well aware of the law. I didn't have my team of professionals that will help me to tell me, hey, don't go crazy in the whole United States. Just start in 1 or 2 states. So I spent a lot of money trying to build my brand. And unfortunately, when you don't have that team that helps you to really take the steps that you are supposed to take, you spent a lot of money. Okay, you could still do it, but you spent a lot of money because you have to hire those professionals that will help you build the brand that you want to build. We were working on the East Coast, and always being there for the franchisees. Every time that I have the opportunity to share this with people, you need to be transparent with your franchisees. You need to really be honest. You have to make sure that whatever you promise, you deliver. Okay, because that's the only way your brand will grow. Okay, because if you start telling them that okay, we are gonna do this, we are gonna give you support, we're gonna train you, we're gonna provide all the marketing materials, and then you don't do any of those things, then why you are taking advantage of those people. Okay, why I wanted to get into the franchise with the Latino community? Easy. I mean, right now the statistics show we're talking about close to 70 million Latinos. Okay, everybody says 60 millions, but honestly, there is a lot of Latinos that they are afraid of putting their information. So some statistics says that we are close to 70 Latinos. That represents 20% of the U.S. population. That means that for every 5 people that you see walking on the streets, 1 is Latino. Okay, and Latinos right now spend 2.3 trillion dollars in goods and services. I mean, if you combined all the other ethnic groups, they don't spend that much as we do. Now, though that amount or that data tell us 2 things: that we are a good market for any company in terms of spending, and the other sad reality is that our community needs a lot of financial education. Okay, because they spend the money that they don't have. We do taxes. A lot of our Latinos, they get, man, $12,000 in refunds, $17,000 in refunds, and that money is already gone. All right, so despite of having all these economic powers as a community, okay, and also having more than 5 million Latino business owners in the U.S., we still don't have the seats that we are supposed to have on the table, right? So all these things really make us change the dynamic on what you're really doing with your company or with your business, right? And everything starts when you get to a certain level of financial stability, and then you start looking at all these things that are not right with your community. I was blessed to meet 2 partners in Las Vegas in 2019. And with them, we started talking, and we share a lot of the same ideas, the same goals in terms of growing a business instead of serving the Latino community. And we merged the 2 franchises, Los Taxes, and back then there were also Toro Taxes franchise. And when we merged, we decided to create a new franchise, which is now called Toro Taxes franchise. This franchise right now has 250 units in 30 states. We also have sold territories in different areas, and we have right now 150 units in development. So the ride is being tough, bumpy, but the results right now, what we have, it's been good so far.
And I love that entire story. I'm gonna kind of pick it out a little piece by piece because in an entirety of a story, it seems like wow, real quick in 10 minutes he did the whole thing. But there's some pivotal moments, right, and pivotal decision makings that happen. I would love to talk about that relationship with finance and why we're not where we need to be. But before we get into that, let me say hi to Ismael, Elsa, Quentin, Shelly, Erica, that have jumped in. Radim, for being with us today. Thank you for all your comments, and I've been pushing them up on the screen for you to see. And if anybody has a question as we develop this conversation, please put it in the chat, and I will make sure to put it up and address it. But Javier, let's go back to that one moment where you decided among this working for a restaurant and being in the basement, because those are places that normally will bring somebody down if you're not strong. And you talked about resiliency, and we'll talk about that now. If you're not strong and you find yourself coming from a country where you had everything and you're known,
Mhm.
to a country where you've lost everything and you're not known, these circumstances could surely bring somebody down. And it happens all the time, but it didn't happen to you. What do you attribute that to?
You're right. Back then, when I was with my mother in that basement, I would call my father crying. Okay, but I wasn't crying. My cry was of how upset I was with the system. It was unfair that in this system they treat you like you were nobody. They will, I mean, you were not a human being, especially if you are a minority. I mean, you kind of don't fit in the system, and you just like anything. And I would call him and say, you know what, this place is not what we thought it was. And my father was like, Javier, you have everything here. Just come back, and you will go back to your old job, go back to college and get your master's degree or whatever you want to do. Come back. And he say, I'm not gonna come back, because that means that we'll be giving up to this system. Okay, it's something that we have, Eduardo, and unfortunately, it has to do with how you are built. It's an individual decision. Okay, I decided back then that I am not gonna come back, and I'm not gonna be a loser. The system just was stronger than me. Okay, so I told my father, I'm gonna stay here. I'm not gonna go back, because I was supposed to come only for 2 years, work, get another house over there or whatever, and then come back. But I stood here. I spoke to my mother, and I said, we are gonna do it. And it was not easy. Sleeping 4 hours for 4 years until I got my college degree here, because I had to go to college here if I wanted to make a difference. And that's what I always, every time that I have an opportunity to go to a group of young people, when I go to the churches or whatever, education is key. You need to have your degree. Okay, and sometimes there are these kids that don't believe that education is not important, and I do not agree with a lot of influencers that says, oh, education is not important, you don't need a degree, because this guy went to Harvard University, and he built Facebook, and he didn't even graduate from there. Those are special cases. And that it's good that happens to some people, but unfortunately, you need to learn, you need to be educated, you need to know your numbers in order for you to really build a brand, to build a company. and that's something that that is missing in a lot of people.
And I agree. Now, as a educated and educator myself, I see there's a lot of value. Now, I will caveat that with education has been institutionalized, right? I mean, it's become a business.
Oh yeah,
And in
definitely.
that aspect, I don't much agree with the system. But the fact remains is that you have to have some type of educational background to get anywhere smartly.
Yeah.
Now you can get somewhere with pain, right?
Mhm.
Everybody can do that. But not everybody can get and navigate through these things and these experiences that come to you as an entrepreneur, franchisee, or someone trying to build something. Elsa was sharing earlier, she's starting her business. And a matter of fact, she put, I would love to obtain more information for my business, mentoring. And don't worry, Elsa, we got you covered. There's plenty of that. Um, but you have to be educated. You have to submit yourself to
Mhm.
learning in order for you to shorten the pain, decrease the pain, because there's always going to be some pain points in entrepreneurship. There's some things we just don't know until we do.
Right.
And like your journey early, you say, hey, I made some mistakes. And it's important for people to understand that that's not the point. You will make them. It's what kind of education, what kind of knowledge have you attained to be able to go from that point of failure and go forward? And this morning I had a conversation, and the gentleman did a quote. I don't know who said this, but I thought it was great. Success is like standing on top of a pile of failure and not beneath.
Mhm. Oh
And
yeah.
so it doesn't mean that failure is not going to be there. It's what you do and how you position yourself in terms of failure that is ultimately the success story. Right now, as you navigated those early years of franchising, you started this business, and I love that you went into the tax business, because if there's anything important in business is tax, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. So um, that was that your background back home, and you said, okay, I'm going to keep going this way, because I do know also that you got into the local legislature in support in New York. So tell us how that evolved. Was that something you already knew, taxes, or is that something you say, hey, everybody needs it, that's a pain point I'm going to solve?
No, it was, I was curious on this little booklet that I found in my uncle's house, and I read it. Okay, it was maybe December 89. I read it, and I started just following the steps, and I liked it. When I started doing it more and more, I loved the fact that people will get so happy with those refunds. Right? Back then we didn't have a computer. We were doing everything by hand, and it would take me a long time doing all the calculations, and then looking at the tax table the IRS had, and there was no internet. It was just everything by hand. But when I will tell my people, because back then it was just my uncle, my mother, and a couple of friends, their friends. Yo, you're gonna get $2,000. They were like, what? 2,000? I liked it. I wanted to continue doing that because it was really really good. Now, when I went to school, okay, I wanted to learn how to speak. I know I'm still learning. Okay, I'm sorry. And I also wanted to understand when people will tell me things, because when I was working in the restaurant, this chef, he was really bad. I mean, he was one of these white supremacist guys that I was the most stupid guy because I couldn't understand what he says. I mean, I was maybe a few weeks into the country, so I said I'm gonna go to school. I went to school. I don't even know with what time I became the president of the Latin American Student Union. at the college. The president of that school, she will say, take me to all the events, and I went to Albany, and in Albany I met a lot of legislators, and among those legislators there were a lot of women. And I said, you know what? This is really nice, interesting. There is so many women that are Latinas that are really, legislators. And I went back to my school and I said, you know what? I know that every year we have our Latino week, the Hispanic Heritage Month, but and they end with a big party. That was always, they bring a nice group and they throw a big, huge party. I say, we're not gonna do that. We are gonna do a recognition to the Latino women in power. And man, half of my students in the club left me. I had a bunch of people because they wanted the party, but I wanted to bring something different. So I started reaching out to all these Latina women, congresswomen, still, Nidia Velasquez, she's still in Congress. They were the first Latina Boricua elected to the Senate in New York for Brooklyn. We had the first Cuban lady elected as a public advocate for New Jersey. We had in Rhode Island another councilwoman first elected, and we had the first Latina president of any college in the U.S. So I had a bunch of people that I was constantly calling. Listen, we're going to have this event. It's going to be a Latina luncheon. So I started gathering a lot of good things. I went to the subway, to get one of those musical groups because I wanted something typical, not the same thing like a merengue, bachata, the same thing that they always do. So I brought a nice Andean group that they were in the subways in the Bronx, in New York. They were playing this typical music from South America with ponchos. It was good. And I prepared the cafeteria with a Latino theme, with some chozas. It was nice, okay? Nobody in the administration believed that I would bring those women to my event. And that day, they start calling me. The director of student activities came to me, Javier, all these women are over there. They're asking for you. I say, who? The senator, the congresswoman. I ran to the president's office, and they were there, and they were like, they knew me for the longest because I was every week calling, are you sure you're coming? Are you sure you're coming? So I was a pain, and they were there. Okay, so we have one of the best events. That place was packed, and we couldn't let more students come in because it was closer. So what I really wanted to do is to show the students that all these women up there, they are the role models, and their stories are the same as ours as students. We can follow their steps and become what they are. So that's the message that I wanted to give to the students. Finally, I did it. I graduated that year, and she told me, Javier, this is really good. One of them, the state senator in Brooklyn, and what are you doing? She said, oh, I'm working in a restaurant. In a restaurant? No, you can't be working in a restaurant. Here is my card. Call me because I can get you another job. Okay, fine. So I let the time go. And again, next year, the president of the student union calls me and he say, listen, I need you to help me with this because now the administration is getting involved and we want to do the same thing. So we want to do this like every year. It's going to be part of what we do in the Hispanic Heritage Month. I say, I'll help you. Listen, this is the list of the women that that they didn't come. Okay, so you could start inviting all of these women. Now, I had a very special relationship with this lady, with the senator. I commit to bring that lady again. Okay, and you call the rest. So we agreed with that. And again, I sent a letter and I started calling and say, no, I love the event. I'm going to be there. And she was there. When the day came for that event, she was the only important person in the panel. I mean, she was the only. There was nobody else, and the president of the college. And when she gave the speak, I mean, I felt really bad. And she said, that's what leadership means. Last year, I mean, I can see the college got involved. It looks beautiful because it's different from last year. But last year, Javier did it along with students. This year, the administration did it, and I don't see anybody else, just me. Okay, and she came back to me again. I say, Javier, what are you doing? No, I'm still working in the restaurant. And you still, no, here is my car. This is my phone. Call me. I didn't call her. Okay. Few weeks later, on a Friday, and I don't forget that day, I came in my uniform with my check because I wanted to go to the bank and cash my check. So I went down there and I was walking, and the senator was coming with some people. And I had my cook uniform, my hat. I said, she's not going to recognize me. So I kept walking, and she goes, Javier! I said, Senator, how are you? Oh my God, you are working for a restaurant. Yeah, I told you I'm working in a restaurant. And then she is like, give me your phone number because you are not going to call me. So I gave her my phone number. She called me that day. It was Friday at 11 p.m. She called me home, and she said, you know what? I have two positions for you. One is with a state senator, Efrain Gonzalez. I still remember. He has two positions available, and he could give you anyone. Okay, but you are not taking that one. I said, why? Because the second one is with me. You're gonna be working with me starting on Monday. Okay. So that was really, really good. I called my people in the restaurant, and I didn't want to kind of just live like that. And I called my manager and I told him, listen, I have this opportunity. What do you think? I mean, I say, Javier, if you don't take that job, I'll fire you, and you will have to take it. So that was part of the political arena. I was 3 years with the state senator. I met so many people. I met with a lot of elected officials. We used to do so much in that district in Brooklyn, and she thought that I was running against her, and it took her 6 years to let me go. But I will never do that. I was offered to run against her, and I told them I don't have money. I said, don't worry, you don't need money, but the Brooklyn Democratic Party will support you. And I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do that to her. She gave me this opportunity right after out of college, a year after, and I can't do that to her. I don't agree with a lot of things that she does. The fact that she's never in the district or whatever, but I just can't do that to her because she gave me an opportunity to meet you guys, and I can't do that. So, after so many years, I don't know what would have happened if I had said yes. Okay, but I feel good because I now, after that, I went to sleep good. I didn't do anything wrong, and I was very appreciative of what she did with me when I left college.
And Javier, I've been trying, and anybody knows me, I'll cry at a drop of a dime. That whole story, and I'm really touched. If I don't cry, it'll be a miracle. I'll tell you that right now. Because like Ismael was talking, and he put his experience in, and I'll put it. This wasn't it. I will be sure to hear this one. So Ismael, educated, right? It says right there in his behind his, he's an educated man. He's an officer. And he says, sometimes I was briefing high ranking officers, and because of my accent, they shut me down and didn't take me seriously. I will tell you, and I did answer him in the chat, that same thing happened to me as a young sailor. And it's the reason why I am in leadership development now. The same reason, right? That and the reasons that that happened to me, to have so many obstacles, and I love that you chose the better road, right? Because I'll tell you right now, had you chosen to do something different, you would have just become part of the system. But what you did was you stood for decency, you
Yeah.
stood for morals, and you stood for ethics, and you stood for all the good things people stand for. And it's the reason why you are where you are today. And for those of you out there, and I see Dr. Michelle slipped in, and she mentions leading with authenticity and integrity is key. It's most definitely key. And any leader that does not will soon find themselves in a position where they will have to face a different story, right? But all of those things led you to that conversation in Vegas, right? You you have this person chomping at your idea and saying, "Hey, come with me, and I'll do this, that, and the other." The offer wasn't right, and once again, a good decision. If I was a judge of it, a good decision on your part to find an alternative, and this alternative now is what you have across America, and there are a lot of Latinos, Latinas, foreigners. You know, we have folks from Jamaica, we have folks from all kinds of places that are in the chat right now, even in the Middle East are here looking to, they know they have something. They know they have it. It's an idea in their head. They know they want to do something with this idea. You had an idea, you created this franchise. So let's start talking about the franchise, because like I tell most people, I say, hey, not all money is good money.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now, right? And I think your wife. Here we go. And he sure is. You know, I'm holding back the tears. I'm telling you that right now. I am. You know, Gloria. Good to see you in the chat, Gloria. Thank you for being with us today. Um, and Dr. Michelle's from the Bahamas, right? We have a lot of people that have this idea and want to do something with us. Take us down this journey from that conversation. Tell us a little bit about this franchising thing, because I know you're part of a bigger organization that it's like an umbrella to all franchisees. So take us down that road.
Yeah, the decisions were not easy. Okay, when I told you guys before, if you build a brand, be honest, be there for your franchisees, and especially deliver what you promise. When I did my franchise back in 2007, 2008 was my first tax season. And now you're going to cry. Enrique, now you're going to cry. So 2008 was my first tax season. And then I started providing support to my franchisees. I had 7 franchisees back then. So they will call me and I will go to their computers and I will say, listen, you have to do this, and being there as a franchisor. That was the promise, that every time that you needed something, I will be there. By the end of 2008, my wife, I was married before, she was found a tumor, okay, in her brain. And in 2009, January 2009, the 4th of January, we did a surgery in her brain, and they took out a huge tumor that it was the size of an orange. And I was in the hospital with my laptop, with her, and helping my franchisees, because I promised them that I would be there. So I could have made another decision. Maybe, you know what, screw my franchisees. This is more important. I'm gonna just stay here all the time with my wife. But again, you know, you asked me why I make those decisions. and it's the way how you are built. I'm built like that. At that point, I balanced two things: my business that I just started, and my wife that we found something that changed our lives completely. But I was there. I will go to the hospital at 6 in the morning, meet with her, and start at 9. I will start helping people with my laptop. Okay. That was the second tax season for 3 months. That's what tax season is, until the end of 2009. January, again, sometimes God gives you these main tests that are really, really messed up. Again, in tax season, my wife becomes a baby, okay, because the tumor already took over her brain and all that stuff. So I was there feeding her, cleaning her, taking a bath and all that stuff, doing a lot of things for her, okay, because she didn't want anybody to help her. It had to be me. Of course, her family was there. My mother-in-law came from DR. She lived with us, but I still cooked for her, and I did so many things for her. And it was tax season, and I was with my franchisees. I was with my wife taking care of her, and she unfortunately passed away in March 30th, 15 days before tax season. Okay, honestly, in March 30, I left to my country for a few weeks because I just, I couldn't take it. But that's part of us as resilient, how resilient we are with whatever comes to you in a personal matter, and it's up to you. If you decide at that point to dedicate your whole life to your loved one, it's okay. It's a decision that you made it, and it's fine. All right, all the decisions that we make are good because we are making it. It doesn't matter if the rest of the people, the world, don't like it or they don't support your decision. This is what you have decided. After that, I didn't want to know about the franchise. I didn't want to build the franchise. And every time that I go to wherever I go, I tell people, your future will depend on who is in your circle and the books that you read. Okay, so in my circle, I had good people. My pastor and his wife, people around him, a best friend that I still have, my beautiful Dorca. I have those people around me that will keep telling me, listen, you gotta do it. You have to move on, do it, and I did get to a point that I didn't want to commit suicide. Okay, and that I never thought that I would do it, but sometimes it's the matter of seconds when you are so depressed that you are in front of the headstone and the tomb, and you just want to say, you know what, I want to be there. But those are the things that if you have God in your heart, it's like he came and gave me a slap on my head and say, hey, what are you doing? So I did promise that day to my wife and to God that I will never, never have those thoughts again, that depression will not be part of my dictionary. I never get depressed. Sometimes I get sad with certain things that happen, with some certain challenges that we have with the business, with the family, but never, never depressed. Okay, so those are the things that I have learned from that time back in my life. And we continue building that. After my friends told me, listen, you need to continue, I went back to the franchise in the same East Coast. 2008, 2018, one of the best or the biggest entrepreneurs in franchising contacted me that he wanted to do the third franchise focused on the Latino community. Okay, another income tax franchise. I don't want to bore you with all the details. I just was not a good fit for me because I will lose my franchise the way how other people have lost their franchises. And I decided to merge my franchise with these two entrepreneurs in Las Vegas, decent people that share the same values. And we started growing in nationwide. I didn't have anybody on the West Coast, but with their alliance, we finally cover the whole United States. So that's how we went through that little. Are you crying, Enrique? I don't see you. I want to see your face, man.
No, I'm not crying, but man, I got a headache trying to keep it back.
No, sometimes those things really, make a difference in your life, and it builds the person. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I'm gonna pop some of these things. Erika says, "I don't know you, but I'm definitely crying." and my cello, my brother, good to see you. He says you a sharp dresser.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Latinos, bro. That's what Latinos do.
And Shelly's crying. Look, yeah, I'm not crying because I got to be on camera, but and so I'm going to bring up a question that Erika had posed, so we could start going down this road and helping some people try to start on the road if they're looking for this opportunity. Now, I'll tell you, franchising is not for everyone. Just like entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Just like working for somebody is not for everyone. Like me, it's not for me. But franchising is for some people. And she says, how do you start thinking and knowing about franchising?
See, right now, in order for you to become part of the 1%, okay, you really need to start thinking on what your future will be, because it's not as an employee. An employee doesn't make money to the level that you want to be financially stable. And the only option is really building your business. So you have these two options. You either do it on your own with all the risks that you have, trying to find out how the marketing will be, the legalities of your business, licenses, and all that stuff that it takes a long, long time. It takes much more money, or getting a franchise. Okay, the franchise has already the system built in there. Anything that you need, the franchise is supposed to give it to you. Okay, so trainings, marketing strategies, marketing materials, the process, the tools, the resources, insurances, anything that you need, the franchise is supposed to give it to you. Okay, it's like a turnkey business where you open your doors and everything is supposed to be there for you. That's the purpose of franchising. Okay, now not all franchises provide that, and sometimes people confuse the franchise system with licensing. Licensing has to do with the characters, with anything that you might use to promote your business, like a Disney. You want to use Mickey Mouse for your business, then that's a licensing deal that you pay Disney. But it's not a franchise system. So we have to be very careful with a lot of businesses calling, oh, I'm just giving a license, and they still charge royalties, they still charge franchise fees, and all those things that they are supposed to be a franchise. Now, when you are part of a franchise, the possibilities of failure may go down to the 15%. To the contrary, as you as an owner, it's 85% that you people fail within the 5 years. In our case, our franchise, since I went through so much, and I've been giving a lot of opportunities to our franchisees, especially at the beginning when nobody knew our brand, I had to give my franchises for free sometimes. Okay, and the only person that paid for my franchise in full was my wife. She is really my oh my God, she is my savior, because she took me in the worst time of my life, and she's been building me to become complete. But when you start giving these tools and resources to all your franchisees, it's when you see that they will become successful in your franchise model. After so many years of building this since 2007, and when we have franchisees that come to us, okay, when they were tax preparers, that's how people start with us. Going into an office, becoming a tax preparer, buying a franchise, buying two, three, four franchises, and then when they come after 5 years, crying and telling you, listen, I just closed on the purchase of the building where I set up my first office, that's when you say, listen, we are doing good things. We are really helping our people. In our case, we have combined the two most important items in franchising, which is the service, income tax service. It's the law. It has to be done. There is no recession with income taxes because during the pandemic, it's when we really make money because the government doesn't say, okay, because of the pandemic, don't file taxes. No, you have to file taxes no matter what. Okay, and then you have the community, the largest the largest community in the U.S. That continues growing. So the combination of these two things is total taxes to provide people an opportunity to really get a successful business. The business is not only for 3 months. The business is really throughout the whole year if you want to add accounting services, which is part of this. And also you mentioned, what is really the scaling of a business when you don't really have a name to do that. My first franchise was Los Taxes. When we merged, we decided to let that name go to Total Taxes. Why? Because Los Taxes one was not a scalable name. I couldn't do Los Taxes life insurance, Los Taxes real estate. With Toro, that's what we do. We have built an enterprise of different services for our several thousands of clients nationwide. Now we have Toro life insurance for the Latino community, which is really one of the lowest communities with this protection. And then we have Toro Real Estate, Toro Realty, that deals with real estates for all these Latinos who want to become homeowners. Then we have a Toro Mortgage. Those are the plans that we want to build, Toro Title. So when you think on your business, you think on how you're going to scale your business and what will be your exit strategy. Okay, we have a bunch of our franchisees that built their business for 5 years and they sold it. They sold the whole office. And that's what you are supposed to think, because once you get all that money, then you start with another business venture. And we don't only teach tax preparation or things like that. We honestly teach what we don't have in universities, in colleges, in high schools, like you say, Enrique. We don't have any of those things, okay? But we teach them how to become entrepreneurs. We have a lot of coaching sessions with our franchisees so they can see that staying on your seat, preparing taxes is not the way. They have to build those skills to become administrators and start supervising the rest of the franchisees. That's what we do with our franchisees. They have to change that mentality of becoming, of being a technician, of becoming an administrator. So with those tools, with those resources, we are very confident that we have changed the lives of many of our franchisees.
And I agree. Cello was saying you making a compelling argument to own a franchise rather than working. I'll tell you that you have 4 options, folks. You could work for somebody, you can work for yourself, or self-employed, or you could be a business owner. That means you have employees and you have places and things like that, similar to franchising. And then you ultimately want to be an investor, right? Because you said, hey, people have sold it. Now they take that money, they go invest and build other things. And so if you ask me on a quadrant, that's your quadrant, and you got to pick your place. And so thank you for sharing that. Now, you have a book behind you, and I put the link for that book in the comments, folks. You can check it out. Tú decides, you choose, right?
It's up to you.
Yeah, you choose. And we've been talking about a lot of choices over the last hour or so. Choices that make an impact. Now, let me bring in the leadership aspect of all this that we've covered, right? I speak to a lot of leaders on a lot of subjects, a lot of things that we converse on. Decision making is one of those things that will make or break you. If you start to decide the wrong way, not only will your business go away, but you will hurt your employees, right? And in your case, Javier, your franchisees, right? Decision making at the leadership level is so important. You mentioned relationship, and I said financial relationship. That relationship with money is one thing that will get you. It'll get you. And you can make all the money you want, but if you don't know how to spend it or invest it or make it work for you, you'll forget it. You have a bad relationship with money. And so as leaders, start asking yourself, what relationship do I have with so-and-so, right? In this case, it'll be money. What relationship do I have with my staff? What relationship do I have with ethics? What relationship? Because based on that relationship is where you'll start to see how long you'll be in business or how long you can be in business. It's all about relationship, and it goes over the whole gamut. Erika says having the possibility to be an owner is priceless, but it's a different hat you have to be prepared for. And preparation, this is not for the faint in heart. You cannot be resiliency. I tell you, resiliency is it's one of those things that in entrepreneurship, if you don't have, you need to go get. Shelly says such a great presentation. Thank you both. Thank you, Shelly, for being with us. Tell us a little bit as we close about this book, brother, and then how can someone get a hold of you?
Well, I'm all over the place. Just put Javier Solis tags, and you will find me in all the social media platforms. To Decides, it's a book that tells my story, basically what I have shared with you with all the details. But as a leader, you were mentioning, and we are working on the second book, which is also To Decides. It's up to you, but based on the decisions involving your emotions. And this is my last advice to you guys. If you are in business or you are thinking to go into business, make sure that you put your ego aside, because ego is not your amigo. All right, that's key in business. I have lost millions because I have let my emotions decide what steps I'm gonna take for a business. Okay, sometimes we get really, really upset at what your partner does or what the supplier has done to you, what the client does. And when you are upset, do not make any decisions. All right, so try to just go for a walk, half an hour, come back next day. You don't have to stay there. You decide to stay there and continue arguing with whatever is going on. Do not do it. Put those emotions aside, and when you are with a cold mind, then make a decision, because this is business. Think on what is your goal. If you have an exit strategy from now to 5 years, that is your goal. You have to be laser focused on that goal, and whatever's going to happen with your ego, with your emotions, that somebody hurt you, that your partner is not told you that your dress is not good, that your client is upset, forget about any of those things. Don't involve them in that goal that you are working towards to. Because the moment that you involve the emotions is when you messed up your business, and believe me, you will fail.
Great advice. Folks, I put that link in the chat. Go check it out. And here we go. We are at the end of our time together. Javier, thank you so much for being with me, sharing your story, letting us learn from your franchise journey. Folks, there's a couple of things that I want to make mention of. May, I'm celebrating Latinos, and that's just it. And so May has been Latina Leadership Month. I've been doing daily posts. Go on there and find those posts. Participate, celebrate them, because we're doing a lot of things. There's a bunch of comments coming out. Another thing is that DTLW Podcast on YouTube, which this is streaming live on, is on the hunt for 500 subscribers. We're at 440 something right now. You can get us there. So go to our YouTube channel at DTLW Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, where you'll get to see this as a replay and many other great, not only Latin, but great leaders around the world that have been on the show and participated in trying to get you educated as well as I. Thank you so much to everybody that was with us today. I really appreciate you being with us. And we will see each other next Friday as I bring another guest out here to do some great stuff, great learning. Aloha Friday, everybody. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Javier, Dios te bendiga.
Amen.
God bless everybody. We'll see you next week.